Oh my god. Wait, how old was the other girl?
19. Can you believe that shit?
Hey, this is Gabrielle Stone.
Good book?
He did what? 48 hours?
What a dick.
Yeah, but have you seen all the photos on her Instagram? And this is FML Talk.
Oh, no, she didn't.
I cannot believe we are sitting here doing a best of season 2.
Do you believe this is episode 50?
No. Do you believe the podcast is officially a year old?
No.
Do you believe any of the things we're about to talk about?
I have zero belief in any of it. We're just living in an alternate universe where nothing exists.
And we're doomed and everything sucks. It's wild to me that, like, when we started this, I was like, I don't want to do a podcast. What the fuck am I going to talk about? Like, nobody wants to, whatever. And you were like, no, we're doing a podcast.
And now we're like, what are we going to talk about next?
Right. Honestly, though, season 3, like, I was going back and looking at the episodes of season 2 to pick the best of season 2. And season 3, just already what we've recorded, I feel like is like next level.
And it looks so good.
It does. I was very against adding more on to the work plate by doing a visual aspect and going on to YouTube, but I will admit when I am wrong, and I was wrong, and it looks fucking awesome.
Guys, it's gonna look so good.
It is. So next season you can watch us on YouTube in studio.
Yay!
With our fun, funky neon sign. It's very exciting.
Funky town.
So let's jump right into it.
All right, so this is the best of, and if you were just jumping on and did not hear last season's best of, we like to recount our favorite moments from the season and talk about it, and maybe reveal some things behind the scenes that you didn't know before.
Mostly because you guys get so frustrated when we take our season breaks that, like, we don't want you coming at us with pitchforks, so we need to give you bonus content. So here's that bonus content.
Don't come at us with pitchforks, please.
So number 1,
counting it down. We should start at number 5.
Oh, well, I didn't do. Yeah, but I
countdown.
didn't do these in order. I just did them in the
Oh,
order. But we can order them right now. Like I
no, that's taking too much time.
Okay.
The first one.
The first one up in the season, going in order of how they aired, is what it is. Was Toxic Masculinity
With Josh Wingate.
and I think this one was really important because there's so much of this in our world, and I'm proud to say that we are opening up season 3 with
Lots of men.
We've recorded a lot of men in season 3, but those premiere episode of season 3, I'm really proud of, and I think we continue in season 3 to build on really breaking down the stigma of toxic masculinity and, like, what society has made our men feel like they have to be, which is a bunch of bullshit.
Bullshit.
My favorite movie, my favorite comedy of all time. So here's a snippet.
Here we go.
Here's a snippet.
Oh, fuck. I'm so grateful. Like, there's a song called God Bless, like, The Broken Road.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of corny, cheesy country song, but it's fucking beautiful because it's like, yeah, God bless the broken road, because here I am now, I'll be 44 this week, and I'm a man who's, like, I'm honest, and I'm a man of integrity, and I can look people in the eye and I can just be myself, and I can process what I'm feeling, and I'm crying because I'm so proud of myself because of how far I've come.
Yeah.
You know, and it ails me so much to know that I've hurt people along the way, and you know, it hurts me because we've never had closure, me and my ex, and I really wish we could. I've reached out before, but maybe sometime she'll be ready. And maybe if ever she watches this and she sees it and she wants to have closure, because I really, like, you know, I want to, you know, I just want to take accountability for the pain that I've caused, and just let it be known, like, the pain wasn't your fault. It wasn't like anybody else's fault, but it wasn't like, it was just something I never dealt with, and like, I didn't know how to. So if there could be any type of compassion in that, you know, if we're dealing with people who are, especially young men, who are like exhibiting the behaviors that are angry and lashing out, just know that they're fucking hurting so bad.
And we're back.
It was really interesting to me when Josh came to record this because he was really fucking nervous. Like, he came and was like, I almost turned around in the car. I didn't want to be here. I was like, fuck, what did I get myself into? Like, this is not a good idea. And I was really impressed with how he fought through that fear. And
He was like sweating nervous.
Yeah, no, like he was full on nervous.
I was confused.
Well, because he's an actor, so you're used to being in the public eye.
Yeah, that's why I was confused.
Because he's never talked about this part of his life publicly before. So this was is my ex-wife going to hear this? Is this going to open up a can of worms? You know, like, is this going to affect my current relationship that I'm in? There was a lot of, you know, not everybody is like me and just goes on and spews about their entire life for everybody to judge. So I think it was a big deal for him to open up like that. But once he pushed through it and we did the interview, he called me he called me from the car once he left, and he was like, I can't thank you enough. I feel like I've just like gotten through a huge roadblock in my life, and like by talking about it and speaking out about it, feel like I've healed a bunch of shit.
That's good.
Yeah. And I think the more and more we allow men to have the space to do that, the more other men will hear it and be like, oh, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to talk about my shit and not be this, you know, brick wall the whole time.
Yeah, I'd like to believe that that's how it works, but I feel like there's still going to be dudes out there that's like, he's a pussy. Fuck that guy.
Of course there's going to be dudes out there. Dude, the fucking comments on the viral video that we have on the FML Talk page right now of the discussion about like, hey, I'm really tired. Do you think we could just like not have sex tonight? And then he responds, let's just take sex off the table for this week. And then like there's the realization that there was like a huge trauma there from like manipulation and sex with my ex-husband. The men in that comment section are fucking horrendous.
I haven't been reading. What are they saying?
Yeah, because I've just been going through, like, I used to fucking like give a shit and clap back and like fucking, you know, be sassy. Now I just fucking block and delete people. Like, I no longer give a shit. I'm like, oh, and there you go into the ethers of the fucking internet. Just like gross, disgusting shit. Like, he's fucking someone else. Like, maybe you should learn how to suck dick better. Like, you know, the whole point of marrying a woman is so that you can fucking get off every night. Like, it's
but
just
you know what?
gross.
I feel like that's society's fault for not allowing, for like painting a picture of what masculine and feminine is throughout whatever 100 years or more.
Yeah, I think that's part of it.
And then it escalating because as society changes and freedoms become a little, like, people become a little more like, you know, it used to be taboo to say the word bitch, but now like everybody's saying like, what's up, like, as society becomes more like laid back in that sense, people just become shittier because they think that they're allowed to say things because that's how society's teaching them.
Yeah,
you know?
And the toxicity of the internet in general, that people feel like they could just say whatever the fuck they want behind a keyboard. Like, I bet if you lined all of those, and I'm saying men because it is men, like there aren't women in that comment section that are popping off saying like gross shit. If you lined all those men up in front of an audience full of people, I guarantee you the majority of them would not say that shit in front of other people when they can see, like, when their face can be seen.
And that's the thing. Toxic masculinity is I can't even say it. Masculinity is a collective,
Right.
which means that the solution is also a collective. It can't just be one person at a time.
No, of course. But I think the more that people that have platforms, allow that platform to be opened up to bringing on men that define themselves differently and showcase themselves differently and live their lives differently, that's like a small step in the right direction, because then other people can look at those men and be like, oh shit, maybe I should be behaving like that because he seems to be doing pretty fucking great.
So let's give Josh a round of applause for that
Round of
one.
applause for Mr.
Paving the
Wingate.
way on FML Talk.
Yeah.
All right, what's number 2?
Numero dos. This one is we're really going to dive into. It was the episode Fuck Temptation with Casey Campbell.
Which we filmed on the same day as Toxic Masculinity.
This is true. Back to back. Casey was on Temptation Island. As we all know, her boyfriend, who I think we ended up calling Ethan, is BFF butt buddies with my ex-husband Daniel.
And if you were listening along, you know that also the part 2 or the part 1 version of that episode is on Patreon.
Yeah, on the bonus content, you can hear Morgan's episode, which was the woman that Ethan left Casey for on national television, that she came to record with me and then freaked out at the last moment and asked me not to air. So I have since gotten permission to post that, but it's only on the Patreon subscription.
I think for me, I guess from the inside of it, seeing just the difference of energy and personality of those two women told me everything I needed to know.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because in my episode that we record for season 3, I say that toxic breeds toxic. And the first interview that we had Morgan on, it felt, and I told you this after the fact, I was like, this is not a good situation here. Like, this is not gonna bode well.
Yeah. Well, she came on to talk shit.
Yeah.
And not to show.
I was
how
trying to
she
say that
grew
while
from it.
being diplomatic, but you fuck that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
out the
this is
window.
FML talk. When are we
I was
diplomatic?
just like, I don't trust this person. And it wasn't because I knew her, knew about her, knew anything. It wasn't because I had listened to her interview. It was because there was just stuff about her in the way that she was speaking the story that didn't add up to me. And I was like, something's off. I don't know what it is, but I don't like it.
Yeah. The way that situation in itself unfolded was just all sorts of weird and shady to me. And then Casey came on and you could really see her transformative journey physically. Like, you can look at pictures of her and you're like, oh my God, this is a different person now. And like just the way she carries herself and her confidence as a woman. So let's listen to a snippet of Casey's episode, Fuck Temptation.
Oh God. So yeah, he said he spent like, I don't know, like 50 grand on your honeymoon.
Oh my God. Okay.
Mind you, okay, I don't know if it was exactly 50 grand. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he said it was an astronomical amount of money.
Okay. So first of all, we stayed at the Four Seasons, or
In
not,
Bora
sorry,
Bora,
not the Four
right?
Seasons, St. Regis in Bora Bora.
Yep.
An incredible hotel. My mom had met someone at an event and she was a fan of hers. And she had mentioned that we were wanting to go to Bora Bora for our honeymoon. And the woman was like, oh my God, I'm a rep there. Let me get you guys a deal. Tell your daughter to call me. And I'm thinking like, oh my God, okay, a deal at, St. Regis. Like, we're still not going to be able to afford that.
Yeah.
I call her and she's like, well, we have the overwater huts that, I know you want to stay in. They start at $1,500 a night. I can give you guys 2 nights for free, $500 a night after that. I was like, great, we'll be there for a week.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're like 100%.
So, first of all, and okay, the way we did our wedding registry was that we registered for experiences at the resort.
Yeah.
So like people were buying like snorkeling and people were buying dinner at this place. We both spent money in the honeymoon, but like, did he spend an astronomical amount?
He said it was all him.
100% no.
He said like you were making him go broke.
I cannot. So besides the fact that this episode alone had so much fucking tea in it, like my jaw was on the floor, Jackie's jaw was on the floor. We were just sitting there going, is this real life? Like, who in their right mind would say these things to a certain group of people, friends, whatever, about the person they're about to marry and then go marry them? Like, why show up, dude? Like, it was literally like you were creating 2 different people.
Here's my question though, is that if that is true and he does see the world that way, like what else does he think is actually true?
Oh my God, I can't even.
Like, I can't put myself, like, usually I try to put myself in the other person's shoes, but when the realities are just so opposite, I'm like, how does this person live life?
Yeah, there's a TikTok trend right now going around that's like, they'll say a story and they're like, that's an interesting version of what happened. Like,
Yeah, but it's not
what?
just like okay, let's say we go and we like, something happens in front of us, you have a certain recall and I have a certain recall about it, but usually it's around the same kind of thing. It's never like, oh, this car crash happened in front of me and then I was like, and then a dragon came, and like it's never that.
Yeah.
So like that's why I'm like, I can't even put myself in this person's shoes because I don't know what that's like.
Yeah, like how can you get to that outcome? So when we went on that night to do happy hour, there's a website called Reddit where people go on and they will do forums, and like there's threads, and Temptation Island is very big on Reddit. So Casey sends me a link on Reddit, and it's basically all these Temptation Island fans being like, oh my God, did you hear they're going to go live on her podcast tonight? Casey's going to continue talking. Like, did you guys listen to the episode? And then they start talking about the guys, and they're like, Ethan and Daniel are so fucking weird. Did you see the shit that they were posting on their Instagram? It's so pathetic. It's so sad. This is all on Reddit. Like, this is not my words. Go ahead and look it up if you so choose. And then I start getting DMs from my FMLers while I'm on the live. So I obviously don't see it because I'm talking to her on the live. And we get off and I start going through these DMs, and they're screenshots of shit that Daniel and Ethan were posting on their stories. And it's like so fucking sad. It's like, it was like a picture of them like doing a bro hug, like slapping hands and doing a bro hug in front of like, some mansion style house. And
Say that again.
in front of like some mansion style house. And the text over this photo literally read, they're talking and complaining to no one while they're ugly and broke and we're living in mansions. And I was like, what, dude? I mean, okay, so like, first of all, you will also read on Reddit that the house that I guess they are currently in is an Airbnb. Like, they're renting it. I own my house, so I don't see how that correlates. If you want to call me ugly, that's totally fine. You were the one that was with me for 5 years and chose to marry me, but like, that's neither here nor there. I fucking am quite happy with my inside and outside. And like, we're clearly talking to people that are listening and tuning into the podcast every week, which you guys are too.
I mean, I'd rather be angry
dude.
and ugly than fake and like unrealistic, sociopathic,
atrocious,
crazy,
psychotic.
I mean, I'd rather be angry and broke.
Right. It just was like so sad to like. I mean, it was comedic, like it was comedy, but it was also sad. I was just sitting there going, "This is what this person values in life," and you can be pissed off that I went on and like made something of myself and had a fucking career, but like you can't argue the fact that I have like really done something and am helping a lot of people. You cannot say the same for yourself. You can say that you went off and got rich. Sure. Kudos. Congratulations. I hope that's super fulfilling for you.
Yeah.
It was
Anyway.
shocking. The whole thing to me was shocking and hysterical.
Yeah.
And that was the episode where a lot of people did some detective work and put together who Daniel is. Still
Fuck
have
that
not
guy.
confirmed or denied any of it. People DM me all the time and I'm like, I don't know.
Doesn't matter. You don't want to know. Fuck that guy.
And moving on out of Daniel land. Number 3 is a solo episode. We included a solo episode this time.
Wow.
I thought there were a lot of good solo episodes this season. We had Fuck Forgiveness, Fucking Mental Health, and this one that we are going to revisit in the best of is Fuck Toxic Love.
Ooh.
Yeah. This one was highly requested because so many people, I feel like, get trapped in that narcissistic cycle and can't figure out how to identify it with those like heavy fucking love goggles on, and B, then like pull themselves out of it. So this is what we dove into. Let's take a listen to Toxic Love. I've always said that exes have this like internal alarm clock, and it goes off one of two times. One is when everything is fucking going absolutely smoothly in your life and you're like, you know, shitting out rainbows and hopping along and just living your merry self, and ding ding ding, they're like, oh, everything must be going great in Gabrielle's life, I should fucking text her. That's the first one. Or when you're super fucking vulnerable and will just blindly look past every red flag and wrongdoing that they've done in the past. The worst two fucking times that an ex could ever reach out. And breadcrumbing became something that Javier was very good at, that you will be reading about in book 2. And looking back on it in some of these edits, it's been really wild.
We're back.
I got a lot of messages about this episode. I think people were really able to relate to feeling like they were in that trapped world that so many of us have been in. You've been in stuff where you've had those love goggles on, haven't you?
Here's my question, and this is the answer to your question with a question. Is it love if it's toxic?
Well, that's the point. I think we go into it in this episode, and, you know, I definitely write about it in The Ridiculous Misadventures, is that your definition of love can become toxic. Like with Javier, my definition of love had become toxic. So I was now searching for and identifying specific feelings with love that should not have been something that I was searching for.
Like you have tinted glasses.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't even say tinted. I would say like neon fucking pink, like
But see,
clouded.
okay, this is the thing. Like, since it's happened to me now, not like recognizing the truth of what love actually is. Love Actually, love that movie. I think about it like, was it actually me defining love as toxic, or was it just a delusion? Like the dragon coming down from the sky during the car accident.
Right.
You know, like, I don't know that love can be toxic.
Well, I think it's not that it's love and it's toxic. It's that you are trapped in something that has become toxic, and you are thinking that it's love. So you are tying the idea of love,
like the devil,
to these toxic
the devil
elements.
is misleading you.
Yeah, like for me, the prime example was with Javier. It was like, well, if I'm not feeling that like intense pull and that like I can't breathe type of passion because it was so all encompassing and so like love bombed and fast, if I'm not feeling that, that's not love. Right. So then I started dating Tay, and I was like, well, I don't feel that like that toxic.
Yeah, but then, so how to get out of it, to answer your question, was then you got to get to a point where you start to relate that feeling of like all encompassing and like makes you feel a certain way with other things that do that. Like, what else is like intense, all encompassing, like suffocation, like
death.
Being trapped, death, like really bad things
right
are tied to those words. So
yeah. Like not sunshine, not rainbows, not Valentine's Day.
All of that is like free and open and butterflies flying through the sky. Like, I think once you start to relate how you're describing your definition of it with the other things that you would describe with those same words, then your mind starts to get less cloudy and you start questioning, wait, is this love?
Yeah.
And if it's not, then maybe I don't know what love is, and maybe I need to go find out.
Yeah. And I think it's not always about necessarily like going to find out, and sometimes it's more about like letting yourself fall and experience it when you don't think it's necessarily what we've been shown or taught as to be love.
Yeah, but you can fall and experience something 20 million times and still never learn the lesson.
This is true, but that's your job and responsibility to look at your shit and be like, okay, this keeps fucking happening. Like, what am I trying? What am I not learning from this situation?
Right.
And I think, too, so many of us grow up with different versions of what love is, and that's not always healthy. So it's really important to look at our backgrounds and how love was modeled to us as kids growing up in our household, and what identifiers we picked up from those different situations, and how we as adults now are defining love and making sure that we're in line with that, because the way that we define it is the way that we attract it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I always check myself. I'm like, is this my instinct or is this not my instinct? Usually my instinct leaves when it comes to love, at least, because I was modeled love poorly. My instinct for love is toxic. So I say, is this my instinct? Yes. Step the fuck away from it. Because it's hard to get rid of that, especially if you grew up like learning love one way, and then as an adult you're like, I don't understand why I keep failing at this.
Right.
It's hard to like understand that it was put upon you.
Yeah.
So after a while of me saying, oh no, can't do that, I started to realize, oh, this other thing is the actual real thing. And then my instinct changes.
Mm-hmm.
My instinct was like, this is love, that is not love.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's redefining how our brains have been programmed from past experiences.
yep. All right, next one.
Moving on. This next one knocked me on my ass. And it was fuck boundaries. It made me realize that I am apparently a high functioning codependent. And I absolutely fell in love with Terry Cole. I went on and did an episode of her podcast after, because we got along so well. And I just think, first of all, there's something about her voice that is so fucking soothing. Like, I could listen to her talk all day. But she's very, very knowledgeable. She just blew me away. So let's take a listen.
Emotional boundaries are, I'd say for women in particular, probably, I just led a weekend retreat at Omega and in Rhinebeck, New York, and 97% of the participants, and it was all women because it was specifically for women, said that emotional boundaries were the ones they were the most challenging for them. And I was like, wow, if that is the case, that's, and for me too in my life. So what does that mean? Emotional boundaries means that you know what is on your side of the street and what is on someone else's side of the street. You know that what your emotions are, but that you're not responsible for the emotions of other people. So when we have disordered emotional boundaries, that can come in the form of codependency, where when something is happening to someone you love, it feels like it's happening to you. You being an auto advice giver, you trying to fix everything for other people and thinking that you know what they should do, always, telling people, always attracting people, like the broken winged bird syndrome, they need help, you help them, and then they fly away once their wing is mended, like that.
So I know a lot of people, when we got on the live with Terry, were asking different questions about their own personal boundaries and, realizing that they don't have enough boundaries. Do you have problems setting and upholding boundaries?
I think I have the opposite problem that you have.
In what way?
I guess it depends on the boundary, but for the most part, I don't have problems like drawing the line.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that I had to pick up for survival tactics, not necessarily because it's the healthy thing to do, but like I've just been through enough shit where I'm like, this is the line, and if somebody crosses it, it's no chances. It's like,
right,
that's my boundary. But I think I have the opposite problem as you, in that, like, you were saying how you want to make sure that the person thinks and feels and accurately about you and like their situation, and like you're always the first one to help and lend a hand, and you make their problem their problem. I don't think I have that problem. I think I have a healthy boundary of saying, you have a problem, okay, here's what we can do about it. Here's a solution. Here's a solution. Here's a solution. And like talking with friends and helping them. But as soon as like they're done, I don't carry it with me.
Right.
And the same is true for other boundaries that I have, like in my relationships, with friendships. I'm like, this is not okay. And I'm telling you, this is not okay up front because it's bound to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And we either work through it or it's cut off because I don't.
No, I think I'm like that in the sense of like my close relationships. Like I'm actually quite ruthless. Like when people, like I'm pretty fucking chill and open to most things. But when people cross the fucking line with me, it's like, we're done. My boundary issues is more like people that aren't as close to me, because the people I keep close to me are very respectful of my boundaries. So my issue is setting boundaries with people that I don't know as well, and saying yes when I don't necessarily want to, and trying to like fit too much in, and like people pleasing in that sense.
Yeah.
High functioning codependent. Like literally when she said that on the podcast to me, I was like, oh my God, that's me. That's also my mother. Like, how have I not heard of this term before then?
My boyfriend's like that too.
I called my mom the second I got off that call, and I was like, hi, we're high functioning codependents. What would you like to do about it?
Mm-hmm.
She was like, what? And then I explained her like all of the things that entails, and she's like, oh, sure the fuck we are. But I really loved having Terry on, and I've dove into a lot of her content, and she's just very, very knowledgeable. So I encourage people to go follow her online and check out the other stuff that she has to offer. I took her quiz on her website that like shows you like where your boundaries sit. I'm planning on getting her book, Boundary Boss. Like she's a badass. I dig
Look
her.
at that. Everybody learns on FML Talk.
I dig her. Okay, so this last one created quite a fucking splash. When she first was pitched to me as a guest, I was like, I don't know. Not because of the sex aspect, but because like cannabis was so highly pitched with her. And I was like, okay, like let's do it. I'd like to do an episode, with a sex therapist, like, and like really dig into the sex aspect. And this episode was a fucking hit, and Happy Hour was an even bigger hit. So let's take a look.
Sex positivity is about just acknowledging that all the experiences of humans and how we express our pleasure are valid. And there is no right way to have sex. There's no wrong way to have sex. There's no, a lot of the shame and guilt that comes with it, where sex positive is about looking at the rights of sex workers, for example, and making sure that sex work actually is legal, talking to women about contraception and barrier methods, talking to men about contraception and barrier methods, talking to people about their sexual autonomy, about their sexual identities and genders, and the fluidity of all of that. That's essentially what sex positive in a nutshell is.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. So the 1 million orgasm movement is about that. I really just kind of wanted to bring awareness through a global pandemic that we can do more to connect.
Yes. First of all, the self-love Facebook group was popping off about different fucking things in this. They were like, wait, part of my self-love cocktail is my vibrator every morning. Like, what? And it was very well received. She was so much fun. Carlin Costa was so much fun to have on, and so empowered in her sexuality. Like, she's very, just like embodies this goddess energy of like, I don't give a fuck. This is, I'm just as deserving as any other person to, have my shit rocked.
It's funny. I was telling John about Happy Hour, and he goes, oh yeah, she said that in the episode. I was like, you listened to the episode?
Oh my God.
He was like, yeah, I listened to the whole thing. I was like, why that one? I was like, you don't listen to them all, do you? He's like, oh no, I don't listen to them all. I was like, so why did you?
Oh my God, that's so
He said,
funny.
I liked the title.
Oh my God, I love it. I literally got off the podcast with her and like walked out of my office and was like, Tay! And he was like, what? I was like, I need you to order some cannabis lube. I was like, okay. But there was a lot of things that I that were news to me in that episode, like the cannabis lube and that, you know, any form of THC can like enhance your orgasms, and that the fucking alphabet trick that people talked about in middle school, learning how to kiss, is an actual thing.
But okay, I dispute.
Okay.
I had John try it. Disputed.
Oh. Well, but did he you're not supposed to just like go through the whole
No,
alphabet.
and you're supposed to stop at a letter.
Oh,
Dispute.
okay.
I dispute all the things.
Okay.
I was like, I kind of like this letter, this letter, this letter.
Well, does it spell a word?
No. I just was like trying to like decide which letter is the best one. And I was like, these 3 letters work. And so then he would just do the one letter at a time. And then I was like, no, it doesn't work anymore. Move on.
Change the letter.
And so it didn't work for me.
Well, you know, to each their own. And it really, when she came on Happy Hour, dude, people were fucking like hooting and hollering in the comments. Like, it was wild. Everyone was like, oh my God, this is the best happy hour I've ever been to. Like, you have to bring her back on. She's fucking fantastic. Like, it was a whole thing. She was great.
Great.
Highly rated the sex episode.
Love it.
So let's talk about season 3 before we say bye-bye.
Season 3
Season
is
3.
coming November the 17th.
Oh my goodness, that's 3 days before my birthday, everybody.
It will be on all of your favorite podcast stations. It will also be on YouTube, and it will also be on Bespoke TV, which you can get through your Roku, your Apple TV, your Direct TV.
If you want to watch us on the telly.
All your things if you want to watch it on actual television.
But it'll be cool to have a visual representation of everything. You'll be able to watch the interviews live. Can we talk about some of our guests we have coming up?
We can talk about all the guests we have coming up.
Okay, well, everybody knows that Trevor Hall came on.
Because you blabbed.
Yeah, I couldn't help it. I was like in tears
You
after.
always blab.
I was in tears after that episode.
I think my favorite catchphrase of yours is, I wasn't going to tell you, but I'm going to tell you.
It's
Here
true.
we go.
It's true. So I'm really excited about that. We have 2 awesome other males that come on in the first few episodes of, well, not the first few episodes, but episode 1, Christopher McNeely. Absolutely unbelievable episode. And oh God, there's nothing I want to like plug. It's just going to be so good. I'm just going to leave you guys hanging with that.
We also have an ex-Playboy bunny on.
Yes, Jessica Hall is coming on. Lauren Denham is returning.
Which you still never told me that story because I couldn't hear the interview because
I
it was
know.
in your headphones. So I only heard your side of it, and I want to know what happened.
No, you're going to have to wait until you hear the episode. It's fucking epic, dude. So Lauren came on and did an episode with me in season 1 where she talked about her marriage and the fact that she was the one that cheated in the relationship and how she grew from all of that. And she comes back on to drop some fucking bombs. My jaw was on the floor. I was like yelling during the episode. It was really fucking wild. And she is also Liz in the Ridiculous Misadventures. So you've read about her and I in Asia.
Michael is our network producer. I think that was the funniest exchange because we were sitting next to each other. He was like manning the microphones and I was sitting next to him just listening to Gabrielle scream, not knowing why because we couldn't hear Lauren's side of the interview. And we were just making like faces like,
Yeah.
what? Oh my God. Like, but it was all silent because we can't talk. So it was just like the funniest exchange.
Epic. I can't wait for you guys to hear it. And we're still in book club right now on the Patreon. If you guys aren't in that right now, you can jump in at any time and they are all available on playback. But what we're going to be doing when we finish book club, because everyone has come to love this hour on Tuesdays so much, is it's going to become a self-love cocktail hour. So it's going to be kind of like a little meetup therapy hangout sesh in the self-love group. So if you guys are not hanging with us on the self-love Facebook group and doing all that, I highly urge you to, because there's a lot of like friendships being made, healing going on, and it's just fucking really awesome to watch and be a part of. And that's patreon.com/FML Talk.
We've also got some behind the scenes videos happening on YouTube coming out.
Yeah, there's
as
lots
well.
of stuff.
So if you're not subscribed to YouTube, now would be the time to do it, because when the shit starts, it's going to just keep going.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure when this airs, but
This airs next week.
okay. So keep your eye out on the Instagram pages because there are 2 new merch items coming clothing wise, and then there's some really fucking rad merch stuff coming that is not clothing.
And we are still doing 25% off the select styles. It's the biggest discount we've ever done. So I think a lot of stuff we're getting rid of. So check the website and get your orders in before the discount goes away.
Yeah, and then the new stuff will hit probably like December 1st. And there's also a self-love journal that I have been working on that will be dropping with the new merch.
All kinds of new shit, you guys.
All the
Basically,
things,
if you're
guys.
not here, what are you doing?
And on that note, we love you so much.
Love you.
There will be another little fun bonus episode next week, and can't wait to see you in season 3.
Bye.